Welcome in to Chicago Bears Now. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. We are live here on YouTube and on Rumble as well. If you want to go follow us on Rumble, it's rumble.com/Bears Now. Give us a follow over there as we are trying to expand here on Bears Now. Back live, excited to be with you guys here on our normal Tuesday time slot, 4 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Central Time. Hope you have all had a great week and had a good weekend. Shout out your city, represent your town, let us know where you guys are watching from, and we will certainly give some shout outs to you guys as well in the live chat. We had almost 100 people waiting before we even went live on YouTube, so that's awesome. Let's see. FGB and Bear Down from Wolf, Rockford, Illinois from Zach, Chicago, yes sir, from Rahamid, Nicaragua from Larry. We got Bluffton, Illinois, Plateville, Wisconsin, Chicago from Kenneth, Minneapolis from Wynn's Baby, Bluegrass, Iowa, Livingston, Tennessee. Joe is in Colorado. We've got Jonesboro, Arkansas from a different Joe. Be sure you guys are lighting up the chat, and we'll get some shout-outs. Decatur, Illinois from Edwin, W-Man from St. Louis. We got Kankakee, Illinois, El Paso, Texas from Mr. Tito. We got Earl in Camden, South Carolina. Salt Lake City is where Andrew is watching. Jason is in Tigard, Oregon. Austin, Texas is where Angel is. Burbadai from Joey. We got Chatsworth, Illinois. Let's see. Bronx, New York from Brian. St. Louis from Blake. Niger, Africa from Jaden. That's awesome. A couple of folks in Africa watching. Fantasy Island, Dayton, Ohio. We got PJ in Orlando. Continue to shout out your city. Let us know where you guys are watching from. I see Q Caruto watching live on Rumble. You can shout out your city over there as well. Will the Bears sign Ryan Bates? We're on Ryan Bates watch here in week 2 of NFL free agency. He reportedly is visiting Halas Hall today. We'll talk about the latest there, and of course, if they submit a contract offer, we'll discuss that also. Type S for sign, type P for pass. This is also the pinned poll here on YouTube, and you can get your votes in. 82% are saying yes, that they will. We will see what happens on that front. So S for sign, P for pass. Tyler says sign. Wynn says pass. Wolf says sign. Darnell says sign. Tim wants to sign him. So does Edwin, Larry, Chris, Jim. Rear wants to pass. Creighton says sign. Lucas says sign. Jeremy says sign. Now, he is a restricted free agent, so Buffalo can match any contract. Shaquille says, who is Ryan Bates just joined? Well, we'll expand on him. He's a restricted free agent guard for the Buffalo Bills. Finished strong last year. A lot of chatter that people think he can be a really good guard in this league, and that Ryan Poles is very interested in him as a potential James Daniels replacement. So keep that in mind. P, they won't pay from Jason. We'll see. It seems like they really like him, and they'll probably have to pay a little more than they want because he is a restricted free agent. So just keep that in mind. Name a free agent you want the Bears to sign. Yeah, you can type Ryan Bates, but if you want someone else, you can do that as well. Let us know of a free agent you would like the Bears to sign. We'll get some shout-outs as we continue live here on Rumble and on YouTube. Light up the comment section on both. Julio Jones from Pressure, Tyrann Mathieu from Brad. Let's see. Teron Armstead from Cody. A little surprised we haven't heard anything on Armstead, as he apparently met with the Dolphins yesterday. Did get a super chat. We'll get to that when we can. Julio Jones in there. Clowney from Larry. Kaepernick is a backup for Fields. I don't think they're going to sign Colin Kaepernick, but that would be a story. It'd be interesting. Let's see. Collins. You mean Landon Collins? Let's see. Carson Wentz. He's not a free agent. He's with Washington. Derek Barnett. I'd be intrigued. Bobby Wagner. He would play really well with Roquan Smith. Nick Morrow could be your number 3 linebacker. Bryce Callahan from Quinn. Eric Fisher from Eric. Bobby Wagner and Honey Badger from Chad Little. Man, you want to get 2 stud defensive players. Here's a super chat from Lil Squad. Sign Bates and move up in the draft for Olave. That'd be nice, man. Bates plugs in, can play right or left guard. Maybe he'd play left like he did in Buffalo. You move Whitehair to right. Could be an option. And then you move up for Chris Olave. That'd be two impactful players. There's no doubt about that. If you super chat, we will get your questions, comments on the show. Of course, we have 2 mailbags today, so #Bears or super chat to get on the shows. We got almost 500 people watching live. Will Justin Fields break out in year 2? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let us know in the comments. Q Carrito says on Teron Armstead that he's still meeting in Miami. Probably means he's past his physical and on the verge of signing. Yeah, I mean, that it sounds like the Dolphins are the favorite for Teron Armstead. But will Justin Fields break out? Creighton says yes. Raw says yes. M for maybe from Robert. Maybe. Spencer says yes. Tariq says yes. L2 Cloud says yes. You betcha from Andrew. No from Steve. We got hopefully yes from Sir Dobbs. L2 Cloud says yes. Heidi says yes. No, we have not. Hell yeah from Angel. 3,500 plus passing yards. I'd be down. That'd be a nice little second season as well. No from Brian. Yes from Khalil and Groovy. I'd say it's about 80% yes, 20% no. Hopefully it's a yes. That'd be a good thing for the Bears. Should the Bears trade Robert Quinn? We talked about this on Monday's show. We might explore Quinn a little bit later on as well. Type T for trade, type K for keep. Look, Ryan Poles wants more draft capital. Trading Robert Quinn is probably a guy that could help him get that. So type T for trade, type K for keep. Joe says trade. Michael says K for keep. Nope. Go ahead and record it, though. There's no harm, I guess, just in case, but don't plan on it. Achigo says trade. Jacob says trade. Vibin says trade. David says trade. K for keep from Jonathan as well. I'm going to change the live poll. Will the Bears trade Robert Quinn? And we'll get to this super chat. Just 1 second. Trade. Keep. Curious to see what the data shows on the live poll, so be sure to go vote on that. Okay, Jason with the super chat, and then we'll kind of get this show started. Yes, I realize Poles is being smart with his money, but I've been frustrated seeing the lack of moves, knowing how much help we need. There's a lot of things to consider. One, this is not a 1-year kind of retool. It's going to take a couple of years to get this roster where Poles wants it, and the Bears are going to have a ton of cap space next year. Two, it's still early. We're right about a week into free agency, 8 days, so still moves to come. I think he's been fiscally responsible. Obviously, you have to overpay for some guys, which is, Ogunjobi probably would have been a slight overpay. That contract's no longer valid because he failed the physical. But I think every other contract they've signed has been a fair deal. So got to add more, need more pieces, need probably 1, if not 2 more offensive linemen, need a corner. Need another receiver probably. So, yeah, I'm with you. More moves are needed, but there's plenty of guys still out there. We got the draft still, so trades could happen. Plenty of time for things to go down. Lucas praying, and then we'll get into it. And any super chats after this we'll get to in our first mailbag. Ever watch Moneyball? That's what Poles is doing. It's not quite the same because baseball is a non-salary cap sport, but yes, I have seen Moneyball, and I do understand the reference. Fast moves, we'll get to that super chat in our first mailbag, so stay tuned. That's where we'll start Q&A number 1, because here's what's coming up on Bears Now, live on YouTube, live on Rumble. The latest Bears news and rumors, plus 2 live mailbags. So use #Bears or super chat. Already a lot of super chats that have come in. All super chats will take priority. We will answer all of those. Free agency predictions for this week. 3 predictions from yours truly during week 2 of NFL free agency in terms of how it fits with the Bears. And then a bonus segment only on Rumble. Producer Jack threw me off there. Bears Now after hours on Rumble. So when our normal YouTube stream ends, we'll have a bonus segment on Rumble, rumble.com/BearsNow. So be sure to give us a follow over there. We'll remind you guys throughout the show, but we'll have a bonus segment, not taking anything away from YouTube, just a bonus segment over there. So all that and more coming up here on Bears Now. Stay with us. You're watching Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. I am your host, Harrison Graham. Appreciate everybody for clicking on this video, and we got a lot to get to in terms of the latest rumors surrounding the Chicago Bears. So let's start with the biggest topic around this team right now. Not a flashy topic, but I think an important one. Do the Bears want Ryan Bates, the restricted free agent offensive lineman from the Buffalo Bills? I think it's pretty obvious that they do. 4 smoking Jays, bear down. They absolutely want him. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get him. Brad Biggs reporting that he's meeting with the Bears today here on Tuesday. He's emerged as a top free agent for Chicago, free agent target. I think that's pretty clear. Like I mentioned, he's restricted, meaning the Bills would have 5 days, which is a ridiculous amount of time. NBA is 2 or 3 days. 5 days to match any contract offer that he signed. So let's say the Bears sign him to a 3-year, $15 million contract. Bills have 5 days to decide whether or not they will match it. Doesn't mean they'll take 5 days, but it means that's how much time they have. The Bears clearly like him because you wouldn't spend this much time on a restricted free agent knowing that Buffalo can match that offer unless you were interested. And the Bears are interested. He fits what Ryan Poles wants in an offensive lineman. Young, quick on his feet, just over 300 pounds, powerful, violent. He fits it all at 25 years old. Finished last year as a starter at left guard for the Bills and was tremendous down the stretch. I think he'll fit this outside zone run scheme that we expect Luke Getsy to implement for this offense. Now, these are the teams in on Bates. He's already visited with Minnesota and New England. Buffalo kind of has the final say, so I have to mention them as well. And then Chicago, who he's meeting with today. I think one of these 4 teams will land Ryan Bates. The Bills can match any contract offer. Doesn't mean they will. They have spent a lot, and their cap is somewhat limited, but they can match any offer sheet. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out for the rest of this week. We might hear something as soon as today. Will the Bears sign Ryan Bates? Type S for sign, type P for pass. Get your votes in down in the comments section right now. S for sign or P for pass. Now you look at this depth chart on the offensive line, and you don't even have a second starting caliber guard. Like, sure, in theory, you could put Mustipher at center and start Patrick at guard, but Lucas Patrick already came out and said he's going to start at center. So I fully expect Ryan Poles to either sign or draft a starting caliber guard, which is why they're going after Ryan Bates, who finished last year as a left guard. Now, I don't know if he would play right or left guard. Maybe Whitehair would flip to right. Who knows? And plus, we still don't know how the hell this regime feels about Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum. Here's what I do know. You're probably going to have to overpay for Bates for the Bills not to match this contract. And Ryan Poles knows that. He said, look, in free agency, typically you have to overpay. Up to this point, I don't feel like he's done that with any of the contracts that the Bears have signed. But for Bates, probably going to have to. Like, if you like him at $5 million, you may want to give him 7 or 8 per year because the Bills can match any contract offer. So just monitor that, and hey, for certain guys, if you think they're worth it, overpay because they're impact players. How much would you give Bates per year? I think I'd go up to $8 million. James Daniels got 9, almost 10 per year. 3 years, about $27 million. Would you give Bates 2 years, 15, 2 years, 16, 7 or $8 million? I think I'd consider it. If you feel like he's a plug-and-play starter at guard, you need help on the offensive line. So that's my number. How much would you give him per year on a new contract? Now, guys, we are also live here on Rumble in addition to YouTube. And here's the deal. Our Bears Now channel on Rumble, we're kind of getting smoked by the competition. The Cowboys report, they're more than doubling us up. They have 506 followers. We only have 203. So here's what I want you to do. Go to the link below, rumble.com/BearsNow. Hit that follow button or subscribe, depending on if you are on your mobile device or on your desktop. It might say follow or subscribe. Should be an obvious green button. Click it. Let's get more followers over there as we continue to grow Chicago Bears Now on multiple platforms, YouTube, Rumble, who knows what's next, rumble.com/BearsNow. All right, let's keep it moving here. How about signing Tyrann Mathieu? This has kind of been a loose rumor connected to the Bears. I'll go one smoking J. I think it's possible. I think the longer time goes on and Mathieu remains unsigned, the more of a possibility it is. Fanside had listed Mathieu as a free agent target that the Bears should go after. There's been some rumors that there could be some interest. He's the best free agent safety left on the market. I don't think it's even close. You've got the Ryan Poles connection, as obviously Poles was in the Chiefs front office the last few years. They already signed Byron Pringle due to that connection. Maybe Mathieu could be another guy as well. And what's interesting is safeties have been getting paid this year. But Mathieu has not been one of those, at least not yet. Marcus Williams, 5 years, $70 million with the Baltimore Ravens. Quandre Diggs, 3 years, $40 million. That's coming off a pretty severe leg injury as well, as Seattle re-signed him. Justin Reed got over $10 million per year on a 3-year deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. Marcus May, coming off a torn Achilles, 3 years, $28.5 million. I do wonder, though, as we get into the second week of free agency here, has the market dried up on Tyrann Mathieu? Could you get him on a 1 or 2 year cheapish deal? Could you get him like $7, $8, $9 million? 2 years, $18 million, 2 years, $16 million? If you can, that's pretty valuable, because this is a guy who's still a really good player. Now, he wasn't as good in 2021 as he was in 2019 and in 2020, but he's an emotional leader. He could be that for this secondary, which I think Eddie Jackson was paid to be, but he hasn't really been that since he got the bag a few years ago. You could pair him with Jackson. Maybe that re-elevates Jackson as well. Leader, good player, intangibles, locker room presence as well. For a team that wants to go young, Tyrann Mathieu at 29, 30 years old, still young enough to contribute, but old enough to say, hey, I've been through the ringer, I've been through these battles, I've won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. We can make some moves as a franchise. I'm intrigued if the price is right. Maybe as time goes on, that price becomes right for Chicago. Now, give me an over-under. I'm going to set it at $10 million per year, because I don't think at this point he's getting 14, 15, which is about what Marcus Williams got. But, I could still see him getting 10 plus. Would you give him over $10 million per year? If you would, type O for over. If you're like, nah, too much bigger needs, type U for under. I'd probably have to go under, but I'd give him 9. I'd give him $9 million per year for Tyrann Mathieu, especially if it's on a shorter deal. Now, make sure you guys subscribe to us here on YouTube. The latest Chicago Bears news and rumors. Here's kind of a look at some of our recent videos. We cover it all, whether it's rumor-based, free agent targets, news as well. When the Bears signed Al-Quadin Muhammad, we've covered every single move that's happened in free agency. We did a Bears free agency tracker video from home. Mock draft coming soon, maybe this week, for sure next week. YouTube.com/BearsNow. Those photos you're seeing are just thumbnails from our recent videos. Subscribe, go to the videos tab, go check out all of our recent shows here on Bears Now. All right, sign Tavon Young. And by the way, you can find those videos on Rumble as well. Could the Bears sign Young? 2 Smokin' Jays. I think it's very much a possibility, and I like the fit, to be honest. Sports Mockery mentioned this one. Now, this wouldn't be a report. This is just a list of guys that the Bears could go after. Got released by Baltimore before free agency started, which I thought was a bit of a surprise because he's emerged as one of the better nickel corners in recent years. He's only 28 years old, so he's young enough. Again, the Bears want to go younger in most cases. And let's be honest, the Bears need help at corner. They only have one starting caliber corner. Maybe Thomas Graham's another starter. This is a very loose depth chart at this point. Shelley and Vilder, I mean, you definitely don't want both those guys starting. I don't know if you want either starting. Let's say you bring in Tavon Young to be your nickel. Then you just got to find a CB2, another outside guy. I would like this a lot. He's physical. He's around the football a lot. And we hear how important this nickel position is in Matt Eberflus's defense. I certainly think that bringing in a guy like Tavon Young would make sense. I think he would fit in great here with his physicality. And you hear about this hits principles that Matt Eberflus wants to incorporate on this defense. I think he would fill the void on that. You're talking about a guy that played in Baltimore. You don't think those guys are physical? They absolutely are. He's physical. He's young. He has good coverage skills as well. Nickel's been a positional need for a couple years now, really since Bryce Callahan left. Buster Screen was okay, but he was not up to that caliber. So I'm interested. I don't think he would cost that much money. I think you could get him for like $4 or $5 million per year, and I think that'd be a worthwhile contract for the Chicago Bears. So should the Bears sign Tavon Young? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Let us know down in the comment section. He's a guy I would be interested in. We ask you about him. Tyrann Mathieu. We'll see what happens with Ryan Bates as we continue to be on Bates Watch. Guys, be patient. NFL free agency, still plenty of moves to happen. Get some shout-outs here. Should the Bears sign Tavon Young? Tim says yes. Bailey says yes. Jason says no. Jonathan says yes. Country says yes. Angel, Edwin, they both say yes. W-Man says yes. Caben says yes. Ashley says yes. We got Let's see. Mr. says no. We got Don Burr says Detroit, as he's back in the chat. All right, appreciate that. By the way, I want to continue to remind you guys, you can now watch Bears Now on Rumble. We are live over there in addition to us here on YouTube. Like we mentioned, we'll have a bonus segment at the end of the show. So give us a follow there. More Bears news and rumors content. Not taking anything away from YouTube. Nothing's going to change over here, but some occasional bonus content over there. If you like what I do, if you like this show and you want more of it, follow us on Rumble. It's as simple as that. All right, mailbag time. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions on the show, and we will answer as many of them as we possibly can. So get your questions in right now. We're leading off with a couple Super Chats that have come through. If you Super Chat, you jump to the start of the line. If you use hashtag Bears, we'll probably get to it, but no guarantees. We can guarantee to answer all of your Super Chats. So buckle up, and here we go here on Chicago Bears Now. What's up, Bears fans? It is mailbag time, so get your questions in. Hashtag Bears or Super Chat so I can answer as many as I can. Free agency, trades, whatever. Let's answer your questions here on today's show. From Fast Moves 45 with the Super Chat, I appreciate that. Trade Quinn, get Young, and go forward. Old defense isn't the best thing with high-power offenses in the NFL. I think Robert Quinn is going to become a talking point more and more. We talked about it on a video earlier this week. We're going to talk about him more. I think if you can get a day 2 pick for Robert Quinn, I would probably do that trade. This is a team that wants to get younger. Robert Quinn's trade value will never be better. If you're not trading him now, you're basically saying we'll ride him out for the next couple years, which is fine. But if you can get a top 75 pick for him, man, that's hard to turn down. Cabin Rudd, what moves could we make to move up for Olave? Well, actually, trading Quinn to get an extra day 2 pick gives you more ammunition to move up, so you could do that. You've got 3 top 71 picks as of now. You could trade a couple of those to move up into the first round. Say you trade 39 and 71 to get up to like 25. That could be an option. So those are a couple different ways. Olave's probably going to have to slip a little bit. Like if he goes top 20, there's probably nothing you can do. But if it's 25 and he still hasn't been drafted, yeah, at that point you could go up and get him. Don Burr, Malik Willis better than Fields. Welcome to Detroit. Malik Willis had a strong pro day by all accounts on Tuesday. You know what, Don Burr? I can actually throw the ball well in t-shirt and shorts too. Can't currently do it, but when I was in college, I threw a football 65 yards from midfield through the uprights. So your boy's got a bit of a cannon. Not as much anymore, probably be in the 50-yard range. But no, in all seriousness, I like Willis. Honestly, Detroit should draft him. I think they should draft him at number 2 overall. I think Fields is better, but we'll see. Fast Moves 45, 2023 offseason is the year we spend money. Hopefully, Fields turns the corner with Luke, but he needs someone to throw to. 5 to 7 wins this year, build year. I think you can win more than 5 to 7 if you add enough complementary pieces. I do tend to agree that 2023 will likely be the big year the Bears spend money, but I still think there's money to spend this year. You can't just go into the draft with what you currently have. A, you don't have enough draft picks, and B, there's still a lot of needs. You can't just you literally don't have a second guard right now. Like, you're going to have to make some moves. So I hear what you're saying. There's still moves this year. But, yeah, in theory, next year probably going to be the big move. Fast Moves, guys. He's sending in the Super Chats. If some of y'all want to get in, you may have to Super Chat. Please don't ever bring up Buster Skrine or Chris Canty ever again. Like Voldemort, we don't say his name. Hey, Skrine, you know, the concussion hurt him his last year, but I hear you. You certainly want better players. Tumblr Doge. Hey, I still have some Doge. It's not worth shit these days, but you know what? Oh well. Do you think Armstead is still possible for the Bears? Doesn't seem like the Dolphins are 100% guaranteed right now. Well, we're filming this mailbag live on Tuesday, so as of now, I'd say one Smokin' J, slim pickings, but still a possibility. Depending on when you're watching this, we may have an answer on Armstead, but yeah, I think that it's possible, but it seems like Miami's pretty interested. New Orleans probably would still be interested. If those two teams fall through, maybe the Bears get in the mix as well. Bill Bradley, is Roquan Smith contract extension coming soon? Bill, defined soon, right? Is it going to come this week? Probably not this week, but could it happen before the draft, before training camp? I think it will, and I think it should, because you don't want him entering this year on a contract year. Get him locked up, and let's worry about the rest later, because he's a long-term piece. What do you guys think? Will the Bears extend Roquan Smith before the draft? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Let me know what you guys think. I think for sure before training camp, we'll see on the draft. I would like to see it happen, because then you know where you stand at linebacker. Craig Ferguson, who will suck more, your Bears or my Lions? I think your Lions, because I don't know what quarterback looks like. I still think the Bears have enough win-now pieces on this team. And I think that if Justin Fields takes a sophomore leap that I think he's capable of taking, then this team can compete some. I don't think they'll win a Super Bowl or anything, but I think they can be competitive. I've kind of compared it to the Eagles last year. No one expected the Eagles to go 9-8 and sneak into the playoffs. I think if a couple of things bounce the Bears' way, that could happen. Aiden Bailey, thoughts on Keanu Neal? I like this question. Keanu Neal signed with Dallas last year. They moved him from safety to linebacker. Didn't play that well. He came out and said he's going to move back to safety. I think he's a good box safety. You could put him next to Eddie Jackson, be that hard-hitting type. I think for cheap, I would like it. 1-2-year deal, probably a 1-year deal. If you feel like this, like, hey, we need another safety, but we don't want to invest big, a guy like Keanu Neal makes sense, because he's been a starter in this league. He plugs in at strong safety. You've already got a free safety in Eddie Jackson. I would like it. 1 year, $3 million? Who says no? Juan Espinoza, how many players are left from that 2018 season? I mean, I don't have it pulled up in front of me, but a few of them are still on the team. Without pulling up the roster, Eddie Jackson, Cody Whitehair, they're still guys. I think Roquan, was that Roquan's rookie year, 18, 19, 20, 20? Yeah, that was his rookie year. But yeah, there's not that many. There's a few, but there's not nearly as many. Patrick Scales, certainly in there as well. But yeah, most of them are gone. There's no doubt about it. Now, Justin Fields jerseys are available, and he was not a part of that 2018 team. You should pick up his jersey, though, right now for just $90. Chatsports.com/FieldsJersey. That is chatsports.com/FieldsJersey. That link will be in the comments. It'll be in the description of this video. Represent QB1, and that is Justin Fields and not Andy Dalton. Everybody remembers the tweet, and that was fraudulent. Carter Miller, I think Poles is playing the long game and being smart. He's waiting for Rodgers to retire, and we come in and rule the North for years to come with a young and powerful team. I agree with some of that. I don't think he's waiting for Rodgers to retire, because Rodgers' new deal is for 3 years. Ryan Poles is not saying, well, 4 years from now we could win the division. That's not the approach. Like, if that's what he pitched to George McCaskey and they hired him, that was stupid, because you want to win as soon as possible. Now, he's probably thinking, hey, realistically, chances of winning the North in year one are probably not great. I think they're possible, but I would not give it a great chance for the Bears this year. Let's see how the rest of this roster comes together. But I do agree that this is more than a 1 year, turn over the roster overnight type of thing. This is kind of a transition year. Still be competitive this year if you can, which I think they can, especially if Fields improves. And then in 2023 and beyond, go make some real big moves to go try and win. Is Jadeveon Clowney an option? Another Super Chat from Fast Moves, who is in the Super Chat Hall of Fame on today's show. I mean, everyone's an option right now. I think the Bears are pretty good at defensive end. You've got Robert Quinn, Travis Gibson, Mario Edwards, and Al-Quadin Muhammad. That's 4 legit DNs. But maybe they trade Quinn. You could go sign Clowney. You could go that route. But I tend to think that they would not go after a guy like Clowney, because he's going to be fairly expensive. And he's not old, but he's not young either. Patrick, 1963, wide receiver will be addressed in the draft. So offensive line and free agency. Who should we make a run at truthfully, who should we make a run at? Well, we're filming this live on Tuesday. We know they're in on Ryan Bates. We'll see what happens there. Armstead's still out there. I see both sides of it. When he's healthy, he's a beast, but he's hurt a lot. We'll see about him. Eric Fisher, I think, is a name to monitor at left tackle. He's connected to Eberflus and Poles. Poles from his time in Kansas City. Eberflus from last year in Indianapolis. I think he's a name to monitor. Do you circle back to J.C. Treader and then move Patrick to guard? You could do that. So there's still some names out there to keep an eye on for sure. Tim Baker, how about sign Will Fuller? If it's a cheap incentive-laden deal, then sure. When he's healthy, he's a great deep threat. He can really run. I think his skill set actually fits Justin Fields really well. He's kind of like Teron Armstead, but even more injury-prone. He's hurt all the time. He can burn. He can fly. I think when healthy, he's like the modern-day Deshaun Jackson, who is still playing, but they're not going to bring him in, I don't think. I like Will Fuller. If it's cheap, sure, but he's hurt a lot. I don't know. Bailey, with Devontae out of Green Bay, do we finally have a chance against Green Bay? Look, the approach should be we want to start beating Green Bay this year. Now, that may not be realistic, but I think Adams leaving does change some dynamics in the North. Like, Rodgers' number one receiver right now is Allen Lazard. We were talking about him to come in and be a wide receiver 3 for the Bears. He's their number one guy. Like, Allen Lazard is a good role player. He ain't a number 1. I don't think he's really a number 2. Maybe they re-sign Valdez-Scantling, but that's kind of the same deal. He's like a number 3. Randall Cobb, he's washed. Tanyan's a free agent. I mean, the Packers they got to make some moves on offense. Now, I think they're probably going to draft a receiver in round 1. They might even draft Chris Olave. Keep an eye on that. That would suck. But still, I'd rather go up against Chris Olave than Devontae Adams. Yeah, I think him being out of the division, Bailey, is a very big deal. Now, speaking of the division, who's going to win it in 2022? I'm still going to say the Packers are the favorite, but Adams leaving does change things. Type GB for the Packers. Type CHI for the Bears. Type MIN for the Minnesota Vikings. You can also type DET for the Detroit Lions. Get your votes in. Who wins the North in 2022? Julian Perez, would you double down on receiver at 39 and 48? If the Bears don't sign another receiver in free agency, I think I would at least consider it. Now, it depends where the offensive line is at that point. Obviously, it depends on who's available during the draft. Like, if you don't like a receiver at 39, you don't just take the next one on your board. You take someone else or you trade down or whatever. But I wouldn't rule it out. I think it's at least a possibility. Now, in an ideal world, you go like receiver O-line. One or the other at 39, the other one at 48, while also adding some pieces in free agency. But you never know how these things are going to play out, especially on draft night. Sammy King, is Monty a concern for polls? Monty has gotten in a little bit injury history, and since Cohen is gone, should we draft another RB? If they draft a running back, I wouldn't do it until 5th or 6th round. You got 2 5th-round picks and a 6th-round pick. Yeah, I wouldn't say Monty's a concern. He's had some minor injuries. The question is, are they going to extend him and keep him for the next 3 or 4 years? That I do have doubts about. I don't know. If I'm the Bears, unless Monty takes a discount type of deal, $6 to $8 million per year on a 2-3 year extension, I might just play this year out, see what happens, and then make a decision next offseason. If he leaves, you got Khalil Herbert. You could add another piece next year, so I might consider that. We'll see if they add another running back for this year. They have Darrington Evans as well as kind of a scat bat. We'll see if they view him as a 53-man roster piece. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. It's at HGramNFL. Once we cross 3,000 followers, we'll probably cook up another Instagram Live. Kind of every 500 followers, we've been doing one for you guys. It's been a lot of fun. So follow me over there at HGramNFL. For more Bears updates, slide in the DMs. I'm always down to answer your questions. If you love the Bears, then, well, like this video. We got 830 people watching live on YouTube and only 153 likes, so hit that thumbs up icon. On Rumble, we've got a few people watching as well. Hit the like button there. I think, the Rumble button? Go ahead and do that as well, as we're live both here on YouTube and on Rumble, but especially on YouTube. Only 192 likes. Come on. Let's get to 300. Get to 300 likes and help us out. Let us know once you've liked the video as well. So go ahead and hit that thumbs up icon. All right, also, I know, asking a couple of things here. Can we get 10 more new followers on Rumble? I'm not going to go to the next segment until we get so. Actually, we already jumped up to 213. We started at 203. Now we're at 213, so we've already gotten 10 more. Can we get to 220? Let's get to 220 followers on Rumble, rumble.com/BearsNow. We're going to stay live after our YouTube stream over there on Rumble and do a bonus segment, but we got to get to 220 followers right now before we're able to do so. I'm going to refresh my feed. We're putting the link in the live chat, rumble.com/BearsNow, where you can find more Bears news, rumors, some bonus content as well. I'm still seeing 213. Let's get to 220. Give us a follow over there. Help us out. The more we grow over there, the more videos we're allowed to do, period, here on Chicago Bears Now. That's kind of how this works. We're looking to grow our brand. So give us a follow on Rumble at rumble.com/BearsNow. Hit that green follow/subscribe button, and we'll try and do more and more videos if we can continue to grow right there. So that would be great. I would greatly appreciate it. Let's do a quick comment driver. I want to go back to the Robert Quinn trade one, Jack, because I pinned this one as the live poll here on YouTube. Will the Bears trade Robert Quinn? Type T for trade, type K for keep. Iceberg said they just subbed over there. I appreciate that. Help us out. Easiest way to support the show. Groovy Guy just did also. You guys are the best. Will the Bears trade Robert Quinn? Type T for trade, type K for keep. Chris says trade. Tim and TD say keep. Jesse says keep. Lucas says T, let Gibson start. I'd be down with that. Date says keep. Jacob says trade. We got Nappy saying keep as well. Continue to let us know which side of this you're on, because it's pretty even in the poll. What are we at, Jack? 52%, 51% trade, 49% saying keep. So there you go on that front. So help us out, get your votes in, and we will get after it. All right, another segment to go. And what are we doing next? Free agency predictions. I got 3 free agency predictions for week 2 of NFL free agency, so stay tuned for that as we continue to be live here on YouTube and Rumble for Chicago Bears Now. Hey Bears fans, first of all, type Bear down in the comments and hit that subscribe button while you are at it for more Bears news, rumors, and a whole lot more. Be sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube, youtube.com/BearsNow. More daily free Chicago Bears videos here on YouTube and on Rumble, rumble.com/BearsNow. Welcome into the show. I'm your host, Harrison Graham. First week of free agency. The Bears made a few moves here and there, which we'll quickly recap. But coming up here in a second, I'm going to make 3 predictions, 3 moves that I think the Bears will make here in week 2 of NFL free agency. You look at kind of the free agency outlook for Chicago. They've made several minor moves, like bringing in guys like Lucas Patrick, Byron Pringle, Nicholas Morrow, Justin Jones, Al-Quadin Muhammad. Obviously, the Larry Ogunjobi deal fell through. The Bears also brought in a fullback. They re-signed DeAndre Houston-Carson. So they've done some things, but nothing major. And the key is the Bears still have over $25 million in cap space. So I fully expect Ryan Poles to continue to be opportunistic, to be active. I expect more moves this week, and not necessarily just signings. There could be some other areas that the Bears make some moves to tinker with this roster, perhaps a trade. So stay tuned for that. We've already seen him trade Khalil Mack. Who knows what could happen next? What is the next move that the Bears will make during free agency? Let us know down in the comments. That is question number 1 for you guys today. What is the next move the Bears will make in free agency? Free agency prediction number 1 this week for the Chicago Bears. The Bears will land Ryan Bates. Certainly seems like Chicago is in on Bates. I think that's pretty clear at this point in time. He visited Halas Hall on Tuesday. I think there's a good chance that the Bears are going to sign him. Now, he is a restricted free agent. The Bills can match a contract offer, but we know this. The Bears need a guard. Now, are they desperate? Will they overpay for Ryan Bates? They'll probably have to overpay a little bit because he is a restricted free agent, which means Buffalo has the final say. But if they don't land him, they're going to have to get someone else on this offensive line. Sure, you could kick Borum or Jenkins inside, which I think could be a possibility anyway. But if you do that, you're going to need to sign a tackle. So the Bears are definitely not done on the offensive line, and I think there's a good chance Ryan Bates ends up as a member of the Chicago Bears. What do you guys think? Will the Bears get Ryan Bates? Type Y for yes, Type in for no. Cast your votes on this one down in the comments. Will they be able to land the 25-year-old offensive lineman? I'd like to see it. I think he fits this scheme really well. Number 2, this is a definitely more bold prediction, and I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but it's bold, it's a prediction. Why not? Robert Quinn gets traded. This is something I've started to talk about in the last couple of days. I just think the tea leaves tell us that Robert Quinn could get traded. Ryan Poles wants more draft picks. That is obvious. He wants to build through the draft. He wants to bring in draft capital, draft players, groom them, re-sign those guys. That is how he wants to build a roster. This is what Poles said at his introductory press conference. Quote, "We're going to build through the draft. We're going to acquire young, fast, and physical football players." Robert Quinn is not young. He's going to be 32 this year. He's still a good player, but he wants to build through the draft. Poles wants this roster to get younger. Robert Quinn's trade value is never going to be better. This is what the Bears currently have in draft capital. 3 top 71 picks, 2 second-round picks at 39 and 48, that third-round pick at 71. You've got 2 fifth-round picks and a 6th. 6 total picks for a GM in year 1 that wants to build a roster through the draft. You're telling me he doesn't want more picks? Quinn is older. He's never going to have better trade value at this age, coming off an 18.5 sack season. If you can get a day 2 pick for him, I think Ryan Poles would be very intrigued by that, and I think he would have to consider it at that point. Now, would you trade Robert Quinn? Type T for trade, type K for keep. I certainly see both sides of it. He can help you produce this year, but you also have some quality defensive ends in Travis Gibson, Al-Quadin Muhammad, and Mario Edwards. You could go get a cheaper rotation guy. Jeremiah Tachu could help as well. T for trade, K for keep. Would you trade Robert Quinn? Now, you're not going to trade Justin Fields, at least not this offseason. Maybe if he doesn't play well this year, you could do that next year, but none of us want or hope for that to happen. We hope he balls out, and I think he has a good chance of doing so. And if you want his jersey, pick one up today at chatsports.com/fieldsjersey. That is chatsports.com/fieldsjersey. Pick up a brand new Justin Fields jersey today. Number 3, my third free agency prediction for this week. This is just for this week. And again, obviously, Robert Quinn getting traded this week. Probably a bit of a long shot, but it's a bold prediction. Justin Fields gets another weapon. That's my next prediction here. These are kind of your key skill guys that you have currently, and there's some good pieces here, but you certainly need more. You've got Darnell Mooney, who, I'm hoping he elevates to wide receiver 1. He's for sure a really good wide receiver 2, 17th in the NFL in receiving yards last year on a bad offense. Byron Pringle, again, right now he's your wide receiver 2. Ideally, he's your number 3. We'll see. I think he'll play out of the slot primarily. 2 good running backs, David Montgomery, Khalil Herbert. I like both of them. Cole Kmet has been up and down, but he's certainly flashed big potential. I think he's a good playmaker. But the Bears need more. They need more than these guys. You don't have a true alpha male, number 1 elite player. Maybe Darnell Mooney becomes that this year. David Montgomery is certainly a very good running back. But, you would certainly look to add more blue chip type of players. You need more depth as well. I think Justin Fields gets another weapon this week, either at receiver or at tight end. Now, if it is receiver, there's still guys out there. There's not the Devontae Adams of the world, but you've got Odell Beckham Jr., who I don't really expect the Bears to be in on him because he's recovering from his ACL, probably won't be ready until midseason. Julio Jones, he's older, doesn't really fit the Bears' timeline, but you could sign him to a 1 or 2 year deal. He could help close the gap for the next couple of seasons. Jarvis Landry, now you've got Pringle. Landry's primarily a slot. The fit may not make sense with both those guys on your roster, but Landry's better than Pringle, so you can factor that in. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he's a burner, could take the top off of defense. I'm still intrigued. Same with Will Fuller. He's better than Valdez-Scantling, but he's hurt way more often. But when healthy, he's an elite deep ball threat. Name a receiver that you think the Bears should sign. There's also the Cole Beasleys of the world out there, but I don't think he's that realistic after signing Pringle. Who would you like to see the Bears sign at wide receiver? Okay, so there you go. Those are some predictions for this week in free agency. Number 1, the Bears will land Ryan Bates, restricted free agent. I think he's a big target for Chicago. Number 2, Robert Quinn will get traded. And number 3, Justin Fields gets another much-needed weapon, whether it's at receiver or tight end. These are 3 predictions from me. Let me know what your predictions are down in the comments. And be sure to hit that subscribe button here on YouTube, youtube.com/BearsNow. We will continue with daily videos around the Chicago Bears, the latest news, rumors, and a whole lot more. So subscribe. Don't miss any of it here on Bears Now. Bears Now is also live on Rumble as we continue to remind you guys. Appreciate everybody who supports the show on YouTube. You can also, if you also just want to support the show, forget the platform, just follow us on Rumble too. The more followers we get there, the more opportunities we have here at Bears Now to expand our brand and to get more content out to you guys. This is bonus stuff. Nothing is changing on YouTube. Our partnership with Rumble just allows us to do even more content. So give us a follow, and here's the deal. After this upcoming segment, which is a Q&A, we're going to have a bonus Rumble-only segment. So, hey, give us a follow, rumble.com/BearsNow, and join us over there on Rumble. We're up to 231 followers on Rumble. We started today's live stream with 203. Continue to show support, show the love. We would appreciate it. That way we can get you even more content, including our exclusive Rumble-only segment coming up after this Q&A. Speaking of which, live Q&A time. Use hashtag Bears or Super Chat to get your questions here on the show. We will have you guys covered over the next 10 or 15 minutes, answer all of your questions. Super Chats get answered first, which I believe we got a couple during that last segment. We will answer that and more that come in. And, of course, if you use hashtag Bears, we will answer those questions as well. Hashtag Bears Super Chat, mailbag number 2 coming up right now. What's going on, Bears fans? Harrison Graham here, Bears Now by Chat Sports. Time for another mailbag for you guys. Get all your questions in. That way I can answer as many as I can. Micah Crowder, what's going on? Appreciate the Super Chat. What do you think Cody Whitehair is worth as a draft pick? Well, if you trade him, you lose more money against the cap. If it's a post-June 1 cut, you save some money. Day 3 pick, 6th-round pick. Guys, he didn't play that well last year. Now, there might be some GMs around the league that still like him. Maybe they view him as a center. He can play center or guard. You could probably get a pick for him, but with the cap implications, I don't really expect it, Micah. I think he's on this team for at least this year. After this year, depending on how he plays, he could be a guy to move on from. Georgia's Rebel is next up. Hashtag Bears. Deal Monty for a 3rd-round pick. I will say this. While I don't necessarily think this will happen or don't even know if I would actually do it, I think he's a dark horse trade candidate. Like, if Ryan Poles is desperate for a day 2 pick and a team would throw the Bears a 3rd for Monty, he might consider it. He's desperate for draft picks. I really think he is. So it's possible. I wouldn't anticipate it. I think that he's such a leader on this team that they're going to keep him, but it's a new regime. I think anything's possible. Fofo plays. Tip it on Fofos. Thoughts on Tyler Smith from Tulsa? He's an underrated prospect. I like him. I think it's a round 2 tackle, 39 or 48. I would like him. I think he's a name to keep an eye on. He's rising up draft boards. Some think he could go round 1. I'm not so sure about that, but at 39 or 48, I think he's an intriguing player. Edwin Bond Sr., if they are not high on Borum and Jenkins, he needs to focus on bringing in a wall for Fields. That should be the holy grail right now. Fair point. If Ryan Poles does not like Jenkins or Borum, hopefully he likes at least one of them. I've heard he's not super high on Borum. It kind of seems unclear on Jenkins. Then yeah, I mean, let's just say they're out of the equation, right? Your only for sure starter is Lucas Patrick and probably Cody Whitehair, so you're 3 linemen short of a starting 5. Yeah, if both those guys are not going to start, you need 3 more linemen. I'm hopeful Jenkins will start somewhere. I still like him as a prospect. I didn't mind how Borum played down the stretch last year, but if they're not high on Borum, if they think he's a backup, hopefully Jenkins can start. But even if just one of them is a starter, you're still 1 or 2 guys away at least. So I'm with you. You got to get more guys up there. John Wallace, could David Ojabo fall to the Bears in round 2 after his pro day injury? So yeah, tragically, David Ojabo ruptured his Achilles during his Michigan pro day, and there's been a lot of talk already. Could he slide in the draft? Which is kind of, not great content because you don't want to discuss these things after a major injury, but it's just reality, right? Like, chances are he'll probably drift a little bit. I think he was a top 20 lock. Who knows now? If he's there at 39, would I take him? I might. Like, it's not a top need, but let's say you trade Robert Quinn, right? Say you trade Robert Quinn. Bring in David Ajabo to no pressure on him to play right away. If he's healthy at mid-season or late in the year, cool. If not, you can roll with what you got, because that's a question too. Is he going to miss his entire rookie season? Who knows? Depends on how he recovers. I'll ask you guys, would you draft David Ajabo at 39? Type Y for yes, type N for no. If his medical information checks out and his recovery is going well, that's a good value pick at 39. It really, really is. Soul Search, are Bear fans too much in their feelings about Poles' free agency moves? I think a little bit, and that's okay. I get the anxiousness. Guys, like, you want to win. You want to see what this team looks like. I'm with you, but we got to be patient. We got to be a little patient. We got to give this guy a chance, okay? He's got a plan. Let's let him execute it. Hopefully he's got plan Bs, plan Cs as well. Not everything happens exactly how you want it to, just like Larry Ogunjobi. I mean, that's a good example. It's a good learning opportunity for Ryan Poles. So, I think we are a little bit in our feelings, but I understand where a lot of that's coming from due to the lack of success. Patrick, 1963, how high would you trade up to, and who would you go take with Bears picks have? I would move into the low to mid-20s for Chris Olave. I would. If he's there at like 23 and I can trade 39 and 71 to get him, I'd probably do that. The chemistry with Fields would already be there. If you're all in on building around Fields, that is the one move I would probably make. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't trade up. Georgia Rebel, trade for DK. His dad was a Bear. True and cool. I'm down. I absolutely would do that as long as you don't have to give up an obnoxious amount of money. I wouldn't give up a future first, I don't think. But stay tuned. We'll have some more trade stuff around this potentially. Is this CNI Plus? What do you think Teron Armstead is asking for? He probably wants $20 million a year. He'll probably have to settle for like $15 a year with some incentives because of his injury history. Look, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 left tackle, period. Problem is he misses about 5 games a year on average. So he's asking for a lot. Teams are probably saying we can't give you, guaranteed heavy deals because of your injury history. Going to have to compromise. We'll see if the Bears get in the mix. By the way, bear down and follow us on Rumble for some more Bears content. We just crossed 230 followers over there. We're trying to continue to grow. So follow us right now, rumble.com/BearsNow, and some exclusive content to come in addition to what we do here on YouTube. So rumble.com/BearsNow for more Chicago Bears videos. Micah Crowder, thoughts on Calvin Austin and Martin Emerson. Let me just pull these guys up on the fly here. Calvin Austin out of Memphis. Good speed. He jumped out to me at the combine. Really small guy. I wonder with adding Byron Pringle if Austin's a guy the Bears would still look into. As far as Emerson goes, let's see. I don't remember him standing out as much. Oh, Mississippi State kid. Let me see real quick. I don't know as much about him right now, but I'm going to continue to study these guys. But Austin, look, he can burn. There's no doubt. And the Bears want fast guys. So maybe he's a return type wide receiver 4 as a rookie. Okay, I'd be intrigued. Jacob Granada is, why is everyone so high on Pickens? What am I missing here? I'm not high on him at all. Well, he ran a sub. Didn't he run a sub 4.4, sub 4.45, something like that at the NFL Combine? He's a vertical threat. He can go up and get the ball. When healthy, he's really good. Now, he's had some injury concerns as well. Had a torn ACL at Georgia. So I like him. In round 2, I'd take a chance on him at like 48 if he's there, maybe 39. I like Pickens. I'm not as high on him as other guys are, but he's a good player. Welke with the super chat. Appreciate that. Pace is gone because he missed so much on day 1 and day 2 picks. Poles needs to hit. Draft a receiver in Kenneth Walker. You need a solid wide receiver 1 to win in the draft. I don't need Kenneth Walker. He's a running back out of Michigan State. Don't need him. I do like him as a prospect, but the Bears don't need a running back, especially that high in the draft. But yeah, you need to hit on these picks. You got to hit the premium picks. Pace was great on day 3. Missed too much on day 1 and 2, though. Brett Kimball, what would it take to trade for Kittle? Bring him back to Chicago. Gosh. A first and then some. And even then, the Niners are probably like, no, we're trying to win Super Bowls right now, and Kittle helps us do that. So Probably a first, Robert Quinn, and a future second or something like that. Too much. You're not getting George Kittle. Albert Rasner is it Pohl or let Poles clean it up for O-line? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's happening, I think. I think he's looking at this group, and he's going to make some decisions based on what he likes and dislikes. And quite frankly, I think he dislikes more than what he likes on the offensive line, to be honest. Jacob Halland, we cut Foles, bring in a better backup QB to Minter Fields. Yeah, if you cut Foles, you save, I think it's $3 million, maybe just over $3 million. If you trade him, you save $8 million. That would be awesome. And I do think trading him is at least slightly possible now because the Bears just paid his roster bonus. Now, that being said, Foles as a backup, I think, is a pretty decent option. He started in this league. He's won a Super Bowl. We're not in those rooms. We don't know how he mentors Fields, but Fields did mention him by name multiple times last year as a good mentor. So at worst, you keep him as your backup. At best, you trade him to clear cap space and go sign a cheaper backup. Those are kind of your options. Groovy guy Mike, trade Quinn for a second and sixth. Could we trade Foles for a fifth or sixth to teams that are QB needy? Well, think about it this way. There's not that many teams left that need a quarterback. I think if you could trade Foles for a seventh, I would do it. But there's always teams that want more quarterbacks, but he's not going to start anywhere. What is Seattle going to start him? You trade him to Seattle? I don't think so. I think they'd rather just play the young Drew Lock. Chris Stanford, Bear Down, what do you think it would take for the Bears to trade up to get Olave in round one? Appreciate the super chat. We've talked about this a bit. You're probably going to have to trade 2 of your 3 day 2 picks to move up into the first round. 39 and 71 to move up to like 25. Could take something like that. Who's your top NFL draft target? Is it Chris Olave? I would love Chris Olave. That would be awesome. Let me know. Who's your top NFL draft target for the Bears this year? Speaking of the draft, we'll have more draft videos in the coming weeks. We're still more free agency focused, but we'll do a mock draft soon. Draft targets after free agency, yada, 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 more draft videos. Subscribe. Let's get to 45,000 subscribers on YouTube. It's youtube.com/BearsNow. We will have you guys covered on a daily basis, including with more draft coverage. Albert Rasner, as we have time for a couple more. Cut Foles, sign Baker. Well, number one, Baker is not a free agent. He is under contract with Cleveland, and his contract is $18 million, so he's not coming to Chicago. So cut Foles is an option, though, to save $3 million. Caben Rudd, do you think Eberflus can get Eddie Jackson to buy in on his plan, bring out the best in him? I hope so. I think Eddie Jackson's a player to watch this year. I think one of two things is going to happen. I think he's not physical enough. He's not the type of guy that is going to work here in this new system, or he's going to say, hey, man, I got to hit the reset button on my career. New staff in here. I got to prove that I'm worth the contract I got, and he's going to ball out. I think it's going to be one of those two. I hope it's the latter. I hope he balls out because I still think there's good football in Eddie Jackson, but he's just got to play better. Nunu Johnson, trade Cole Kmet for a fifth. He's a bust. He had 600 yards last year in a bad offense. I get 0 touchdowns is bad, but I think part of that is scheme. They kept putting Jimmy Graham in when the Bears were getting to the red zone. It's like, oh, my God, y'all should have just cut this guy. But instead, they restructured him, and he has dead cap hit this year, even though he's not on the team. Brutal, Jimmy Graham. Good work, Ryan Pace. But thanks, Nagy, as well. Cole Kmet has shown real potential, and you took him in the second. He's shown enough as a second-round pick that to trade him for a fifth would just be a waste. I'm giving him at least one more year. I want to see what he can do in 2022. Sorry we couldn't get to everybody's questions. If we missed any of them, give us a follow on Instagram. Us meaning me, at HGrabNFL, at HGrabNFL. We will have you guys covered both on the channel and on my social media platforms. All right, who is your top NFL draft target? I'll get some shout-outs. I see a Treylon Burks in there. If he's there in the second round, let's freaking ride. The receiver out of Arkansas. I would love that. Someone says Eddie Jackson is soft. He has been the last couple of years, Larry. That's why this is a big year for him. Absolutely is a big year. He's got to prove his worth. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Get a couple more shout-outs here. Justin Ross. Bojack sucks, bro. I've seen good football out of him, but not recently. Trade up for Olave. Burks, George Pickens. All right. Appreciate you guys. All right, here's the deal. If you're watching on YouTube, we're also live on Rumble, and we're going to stay live on Rumble. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes to go over there. Bonus segment coming up on Rumble. We got to grow over there, so help us out. We're going to put the link in the live chat, rumble.com/Bears. Now, give us a follow over there. Go join us over there because we're gonna stay live here on Rumble. We got 24 people watching live on Rumble right now. Once we get to 50, we're gonna sign off on YouTube and stay live on Rumble for a bonus Bears trade-related segment. So stay tuned on Rumble. Coming up, we're up to 29 people watching live over there. Matthew Peterson peppering the chat with the link. Join us right now on Rumble. I'll give you guys a minute or two to do that. That way we can stay alive for what we call Bears Now After Hours, where we do a bonus segment for you guys. Usually 4 segments on Tuesdays. While we're still doing 4 on YouTube, just a bonus one here on Rumble. So again, this is bonus content. We're not taking anything away from YouTube. This is just a bonus segment for you guys because we love you guys that much. We're up over 50 people watching. I'll give you guys about 30 more seconds to get over to Rumble. We'll keep peppering the chat up to 80 watching live as well. Then I'll sign off on YouTube and we will focus on Rumble. 20 more seconds or so. Rumble.com/Bears Now. Bears Now After Hours coming up here on Rumble. So stick with us here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Get over to Rumble. Rumble.com/Bears Now. 3, 2, 1. Over 100 people over there. I'm signing off on YouTube. Join us on Rumble. Rumble.com/Bears Now.